Hello and what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. You're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. And today we're going to go ahead and check out this multi-tool from BIBURY. A lot of you guys are huge fans of BIBURY from what I understand in the comments. A lot of you guys have been saying that BIBURY is your go-to multi-tool. So we got a chance to check out their mini series here, their mini multi-tool not that long ago. This one has a scalpel blade. We'll do some size comparisons in a moment. But yeah, it looks like they send a full-fledged heavy-duty multi-tool here. Multitool Pliers Pro is the name of this one. So let's go ahead and dive in here, see what this one is all about. And we'll come back to this guy and a few other multi-tools during our comparison here. But let's go ahead and see what we are dealing with. Looks like we have quite a lot of features right there. So let's go ahead and go one at a time here. Kind of like to go in blind a little bit. Kind of experience this for the first time like you would if you just got this ordered yourself. Right off the bat, I'm digging the sort of exposed steel with the black accents. That's looking pretty dope. Let's come back to that in a moment. And of course, we got the carrying pouch here, or sheath if you would. It has a button clip right here. Right, very snappy. With the BIBURY brand right there. Very interesting. Belt buckle here, or belt loop, right? You don't actually have to take off your belt and insert it through. You can just simply kind of use it like a pocket clip. So that's nice. But for your belt. And ooh, we got some other goodies with this one. Let's go ahead and get the box out of the way. First of all, we have kind of like a pocket here in the front. We have all kinds of different bits on here. Bit drivers, that's looking pretty epic right there. We'll come back to these in a moment. And we got some goodies on the side. So we have, ooh, okay. We got two saws of different teeth measurements, right? One has the narrower teeth. The other one has the more spread out teeth on there. So that's looking pretty neat. I bet there's a way to actually mount these on here, so that's exciting. T111C, T144D are the names on these guys. So we'll also come back to those. And last but not least, ooh, okay. Oh, this is nice, right? This is actually really good, you guys. They are giving you replacements for the wire cutters, right? So the ones you find in the pliers, you'll be able to replace those later on in case you need to, and install in some fresh new wire cutters. So that's pretty nice. And here we go, little bonus tool. We got a T8, T6 little tool right here, right? It's very straightforward, L-shaped T6, T8. So that is good, also appreciated. Okay, now for sure, right? This is like the magician's hat, right? That keeps on giving. I think for sure now we hit everything. All right, so let's go ahead and take a deeper look at this thing, you guys. So again, really digging the whole black on silver here. That's looking pretty good. BIBURY logo here at first kind of gives me very, Leatherman, what are we talking about here? Wave, right? Surge, which one? Kind of gives me a little bit of vibes of that. But of course, with their own design, really digging the whole cutout here and everything, right? They could have just made that plain, kind of made it a cutout there. Gives you some personality. So let's go ahead and get things going here, right? First off, oh yeah, we got this knife right here. Nice little blade. The clip point, flat grind. Not entirely sure what steel this is. So future me, check that out and pop it on the screen. It's looking pretty good right there as a blade. Looking very similar to the one on my Fleece multi-tool. We'll do some blade and plier comparisons in a moment. And of course it has its own locking, right, liner right here. So it's like a liner lock. So you just push down and then fold the blade away, right? It has a opening hole so you can just slowly roll it open. It clicks in place and then you basically push the liner down and then slowly close the blade like that. So that's looking good. Looks like we have on this side, we're just going to keep working our way around. There we go. A little nail nick for you to pull out the filer. Oh, this is where things get interesting here. So we have a file here, right? Kind of like diamond, a little bit of diamond coated on one side, and the cross pattern diagonal lines, right, on the other side. But pretty sure this is where you maybe, again, brand new to this. Okay, do you lift here? What do you do? So it actually doesn't just come out like that. I'm actually putting a lot of pressure in there. And it's not going anywhere, so it doesn't just come out on its own. All right, there we go. I had to spend a good maybe 2 minutes playing around with it here. And I kind of fast forward here so you didn't have to see all that. But yeah, use the nail here for this little tab in the front. And you just pull on it like this. Look how easy that is, right? It has the two sides right there. That's why it's not going anywhere. Once the blade is in there and locked in place, it is in there for good. So getting this guy out here, nice little wiggle, right? And it comes right out. And here's where we can actually swap for a different tool. So we got the saw here, right? Insert that in there and then just close it like that. And bam, we are ready to do some damage here, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. I think I maybe put it backwards. Yes, Miguel, you sure did. So let's put it with the teeth facing this way. All right. So that's a good rule of thumbs. If the branding and all that is looking at you, then you know you're doing it right. Because then when it folds, then all that folds in like that. But here's the other thing too. I don't think it's meant for you to keep it there permanently, because it actually won't close all the way. All right. So it's meant for you to use it on the go, and then just go ahead and swap it back to the filing tool here. All right, let's try the other one here. This one has the more narrower teeth. And yeah, same thing with this one. They won't fold all the way. All right, that's something to keep in mind there, but you are going to be able to use them. Cut whatever you got to cut with this bad boy. I do also feel a little bit of wiggle there. Not entirely sure why there's wiggle there, if that was intentional or not. But yes, basically something you will use. And then once you're done using it, you want to put this guy back on. And that's the thing with this one, right? This one is such a flush finish. There's no wiggle of any kind. If anything, I'm moving the whole thing with this guys. No wiggle with this one, where there's just a tiny bit of wiggle with these guys. But again, these are meant for a specific task. You'll swap into these, and then, you know, once you're done, swap back into the file here, because you can actually fold it completely. So that's good. So we're making progress here. What else we got on this side? Oh, we got some scissors right here. And these are some chunkers. Whoa. Make sure they're locked in place. They have the same liner lock right there. And let me give them a nice little wipe here. Anytime you get a brand new product, oftentimes if there's metals involved, they'll come with a little bit of, you know, oils and whatnot, protecting, making sure, you know, keep corrosion away and stuff like that. So check this guy out. Very similar to the scissors, I want to say, on Leatherman products, right? Pretty big, to be honest. And I'm guessing we can probably be doing a quick test here as we go. So let's see here, scissors. Oh yeah, definitely gonna cut that paper, no problem. Yeah, cutting pretty good there. And of course, if we have to cut some cardboard, it is absolutely going to cut the cardboard as well. This little bent part right here actually makes it just a little bit more comfortable as we're, you know, pressing down on it. So there you go. Yeah, certainly can cut both cardboard and paper there, just for reference. And when you go to close it, there we go. It folds nice and easily, tucks in really quick. Well, before we get to that guy, let's go ahead and do a quick test here on the regular blade. Nice straight edge. Bam. Boom. Again, maybe I'll put the steel on the screen. Yeah, cutting to that paper pretty well. And cardboard. Here we go. Remember, when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular but at an angle. So here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely cuts through that pretty well right there. And last but not least, I saw a different blade here. So we have a serrated blade as well, ladies and gentlemen. Also a locking blade. So all these so far have been locking tools. The scissors, the file, both blades, serrated and not serrated, are all locking tools. And so let's see, this one has, of course, the serrations. This is going to be really good for cutting rope, strings, and stuff like that. Probably not going to be the best cutting through paper. How about some cardboard? Yeah, no, it has a specific purpose, right, for the serrations. So if you're cutting rope, right, you need to like kind of chew through it. These serrations are definitely going to come handy right there for that flat grind, sort of that reverse tanto sheep's foot geometry on this one. All right, so that's nice to have as well. Now, let's go ahead and clean in here and check out the inside tools. Here we go, inside tools. Whoa, okay, nice. Nice poppy open right there. Bam, click in place. Bam, click in place. Now I'll tell you what, those are some large pliers right there. I'll tell you that. These are all blacked out, so that's also interesting here. We have a very long stretch here for the fine pliers. All right, let me get you a zoom in right here. Long portion there for the fine pliers, very good portion there for the regular pliers. And then here are the wire cutters and strippers, and you can see, right, they have, what is that, like a T6 little screw right there, and you can replace them later on down the line if you want to, right? I'm sure you can also get some additional one of these from BIBURY directly, right? So that's nice. So that's a good thing to have right there. So good movement. These are not spring loaded. So for my spring loaded folks out there, right? I actually been enjoying both spring loaded and non-spring loaded pliers. Let me know your preferences down in the comments. Which one do you prefer the most, right? We have a ruler on this side, right? We got centimeters and inches, right? All the way from 1 through almost 4 inches, and 0 through almost 9-ish, well, almost 9.5 centimeters or so. So that's always handy to have. Here is our bit driver. So again, yeah, this is very Leatherman style right? Wave or surge right here. We have our standard, it's going to be a PH1 and a PH2 Phillips. I'm surprised we didn't get a combination of flathead and Phillips head, so maybe there's a flathead somewhere else, but obviously we have our big set of all kinds of bits here, so we can go a more fine. Of course, these are nice and tucked in there. There we go. And these are two-sided. We could go a 6 or 5 on the flathead right there. They'll have the little locking ball mechanism, so that is nice. We have Torx as well. We have a number of different functionalities right here, which is pretty neat. You guys can see them here in their full glory. But yeah, let's go ahead and leave it at a Phillips here, which is what is on there by default. And of course, you can fold the multi-tool like that, and that gives you a little bit better, you know, turning radius, right, when screwing and unscrewing something. And in order to fold it back in, you do want to open up the pliers here, and you want to press on this side. You got the little lock icon right there. Push down on that, it releases, right? It's kind of like a back lock in a way. So if you know knives, a back lock, that's essentially what's happening there. Fold that back in, and we have a good set of other tools on this side as well. These I'll have to kind of fish in with the nail nick. All right, see, that's why. I had a feeling we were going to have a flathead on this side, and we sure do. So by default, you have a flathead, right? This could be a scraper as well, you know, pry bar, light prying, if so. So you could probably do all that. They just call it the large flathead driver. All right, this particular one right here is called the all tool, right? All tool or thread needle, right? With the hole right there. Right? If you do leather work, you know exactly what that is for. With the chisel grind, we do have a small flathead screwdriver right here, also built in. So that's pretty good, pretty nice. And we also have a can opener right here, and also doubles as a wire stripper. So that is pretty good, right? So basically these lock, and we would unlock them the same way as the bit driver on the other side. But you could put some wire in this groove right here, and then just hold it against the handle and pull the wire, right? You could also strip the wire that way in this little section there. So that is pretty neat. All right, let's double check, see if we're missing something. All right, that is a nice little, again, picture of the everything you're getting on there. So I'm just double checking, make sure I didn't miss anything. And if I did, let me know in the comments. All right, so getting a feel for it, guys, on the open, it's always going to be a two-handed motion. Something to keep in mind. I did find that you can, I mean, if you really, you know, practice with it, you can close it here without pinching yourself. You can close it with one hand, but it's a little bit of a, you know, a bit of a cumbersome thing. So you might as well just use both hands if you have them available to open and close very easily, right? So it's not necessarily going for the free P4 or Leatherman free P2 style, right? Or arc or anything like that. So definitely, if you got both hands available, then use them both. Other thing I will notice too is, you know, I got average size hands, right? Not the biggest, not the smallest, and it's actually pretty comfortable for one thing. The, you know, all the borders being nice and rounded off definitely adds to that. Really, really good. By the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned this. So I mentioned the ruler, right? But did I mention the fact that it is on both sides? So that is interesting. So if you're doing some measurement, actually, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is how that works. So you can actually get a longer measurement this way. So you start right here. If you just lay it down flat like this on the surface. I mean, if you have a dedicated ruler, obviously that would be an even better way to go, right? But let's see, you start here with 0, 1, 2, 3 inches. 4 would be somewhere in the middle. Here's 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so that's pretty neat. If you start with centimeters way over here, right, you got all the way through 9. I'm sure 10, 11 happens somewhere in here. There's 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on. So that's also something to keep in mind there as far as, you know, the functionality of that ruler feature on there. But yeah, so far pretty comfortable, very easy to, you know, get a grip on it here. Again, it's kind of tries to slide out of the hand here if I try to do it one-handed. So obviously I'll get some practice with it, right? I typically like to carry all my tools and gather as much feedback as possible before dropping a comprehensive review. So that will be later down the line. Go ahead and subscribe to the video if you haven't already. And while you're at it, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. I did mention this one is not spring loaded. So I don't know what your method is, but for me, it's the pinky, right? So if I need to get the pliers open, I just use the pinky like this to open them up. And of course, closing, I apply full pressure. If they're spring loaded, then obviously they would open on their own. So that's something to keep in mind there. So let's do some size comparisons here. We'll start with the folded aesthetics, right? Kind of if you're getting a feel for it. One other thing I noticed about this one is no pocket clip. Some other multi-tools that I feature here on the channel do have a pocket clip, which is also handy, right? Definitely comes in handy having one as compared to not having one, which means, you know, if you don't want to just toss this bad boy in your pocket, you're more than likely going to be using the whole sheath, right? Carry solution here. The one thing it has going for it, this clip should be pretty easy to, you know, put on and take off, right? So that's good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start things off in the smaller spectrum of things. Here's the NexTool Mini Sailor. All right, this one has pliers as well, right? I got dedicated videos for all these. Very keychain style multi-tool there. This one is the NexTool Flagship Mini. Right, another mini multi-tool there, very keychain style. Actually, I've been carrying this one quite a bit. Dialing things up here a bit, we have the E1 from NexTool, another very compact multi-tool, right? Very similar to that one is the KS2E Elite from Roxxon. All right, so you can see those are a little bit wider, a little bit taller as well. Next, we have the BIBURY Multitool, right? This is the one that we used to unbox this guy. Really love the aesthetics of this one. All right, very comparable there. And we do have a full set of pliers on there. Very functional, very nice. And this one does have a pocket clip, so nice and easy to carry. Looking pretty good. And of course, finishing off the small form factor, we have a true classic right here, a timeless one with the compound leverage is the SOG Power Pine. So again, I'll have these linked down below if you guys want to check out prices, availability, and variants for all these. And I do have content on all these multi-tools here on the channel if you guys want to check them out as well. And in the heavier duty side of things, we have the Flagship multi-tool. Right, this is more Leatherman wave style multi-tool. And by the way, in case you guys are already typing in the comments, Miguel, those are Leatherman copies. What's the deal there? Well, listen, Leatherman, from what I understand, had a patent for all of these, and those patents have expired. So that's why we're seeing so many similar, you know, cousins designs out there. Here is the Rock Tool Gen R, right? Again, very similar, not as tall, but you know, a little bit narrower as well. And of course, last but not least, speaking of Leatherman, here is the Leatherman 3P4. I absolutely love this thing. Ease of manipulation on this thing is insane, and I absolutely love it. My wife got me this one for my birthday some time ago, and I absolutely dig it. Bonus ones here, these are a little bit wider. We got the NexTool Flagship Pro, so basically the bigger version of this little tiny guy I showed you a second ago. And we got the Roxxon Phantom right here. This one has a pretty trick up its sleeve. You can actually swap the plate here and actually swap different blades on it and whatnot. It's actually pretty neat. So all these have some sort of feature, gimmick, what have you, that makes them really good. And honestly, I've been really enjoying carrying and swapping and cycling and kind of rotating between all of these. So a quick blade showdown here against all the other smaller multi-tools before we go into the bigger boys here. We got the NexTool Mini Sailor, NexTool E1, Roxxon KS2E Elite, BIBURY Multitool, the Mini Flagship from NexTool, and the SOG Power Pine. And of course, the bigger counterparts, we have the Flagship Pro from NexTool, Roxxon Phantom, Flagship Multitool, Gen R, Rock Tool, and the Leather 3P4, right? So you can see they all have different blades, with the Flagship and the BIBURY here being the closest geometry. The Rock Tool is a little bit closer, but with a different geometry in the tip. And basically all the other ones rock their own completely different blade. Quick scissors showdown here with the smaller multi-tools. We have the NexTool E1, Roxxon KS2E Elite, Flagship Mini, and SOG Power Pine. Both the NexTool Mini Sailor has a, I believe, scissor counterpart, so you can either get the plier version or the scissor version, but it doesn't have one that has both. And same deal with the BIBURY Mini, right? It has a plier version and also a separate scissors version, but it doesn't have one with both. And for the bigger counterparts here to the right of the BIBURY, we have the 3P4. There are the scissors. The Rock Tool Gen R has slightly bigger scissors, very comparable to the BIBURY. The Flagship multi-tool here has very tiny scissors by comparison out of all the bigger multi-tools here. And of course, taking the cake over here to the left, we have the Phantom from Roxxon, where you can see how big those are. And here is the Flagship Pro from NexTool, and you can take a look at how huge those are. So I mean, if scissors is something that you do heavily, right, you can kind of get an idea. But I mean, as far as functionality goes, these are pretty good size scissors, so they'll definitely get any job done regardless. And of course, a quick plier showdown with the smaller multi-tools here. We have the mini Sailor from NexTool. We have the mini Flagship right there, the mini multi-tool from BIBURY, and the SOG power pine. All three of these have some sort of spring load to them, except the SOG power pine, which is absolutely just manual with no spring tension on it. Here, obviously, these are going to have a smaller plier head because they're smaller body construction. All right, let's go ahead and swap over to the bigger heavy-duty ones. And in case you're wondering what happened to the NexTool E1 and the Roxxon KS2E Elite, these don't have pliers, so therefore they weren't part of that plier showdown. And as far as the heavy-duty multi-tools here that are not spring-loaded, we have the Free P4 from Leatherman, Gen R from Rock Tool, and the Fleisa multi-tool. They all have a similar pliers head, with the Fleisa being a little bit narrower, but you can see where this guy's actually a little bit bigger, more robust, especially with that extra fine tip right there in the front as compared to these other guys. And last but not least, both of these are spring-loaded. That's why I couldn't make them fit all in the same picture. Roxxon Phantom here and the NexTool Flagship Pro. Again, very similar plier heads with these two, whereas this guy is going to be just a tad bit just longer overall and a little bit, you know, more robust around this area right there. Well, hopefully that gives you a ballpark idea if you own any of those other multi-tools, right? More or less comparing pliers, blades, and scissors, right? To give you an idea, right? If you own some of these guys, let me know which is your go-to brand for multi-tools. I'm curious to know, right? But of course, this is just an unboxing overview, first impression on this guy. I will be carrying this BIBURY here for quite some time, trying to gather as much feedback as I possibly can, and I will be dropping a comprehensive review here down the road. So I'm excited for that. I mean, this one is looking very, very promising here, very comfortable, looking pretty good, and I'm digging it. Guys, let me know, what do you like about this one? What do you love about it? Is there anything you dislike about it, right? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, I'll have this multi-tool and every other one you saw in this video linked down below if you guys want to check prices, availability, and variants. Shout out to BIBURY for sending this one in, and shout out to my Patreon supporters and channel members for supporting what I do here. You guys are awesome. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one. If you made it to the end, you're the real MVP. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one, either this one or this one. Peace.